Well, how can you make Excel into a self-correcting spelling test? We looked at that in PowerPoint and stuff, and this is going to take a decisively different look, but it still will be self-correcting, where literally a student could make themselves or could do a self-correcting spelling test, or the actual spelling test itself, and it'll give you some capacity here where you could really put this out in your Google Classroom to the whole class, or if you're working in special ed, you can work with 1 or 2 students at a time. But not for spelling, and I have applications for anything where there's learning, and you can use our if-then statement to be self-correcting. And so the thing that's going to be a little different here is a leap, is I'm going to show you how to put voice in it, how to have it read the cells like we did in Microsoft Word, where it read the cells. Now this is for 2013. Number of other workarounds. If you have a Mac, that's a different workaround, but it could still work based on just the operating system on your Mac. So this will be for the PC. If you have Mac, I would encourage you to work on a PC for this, and this is just for 2013. First of all, in the assignment I'm asking for 4th grade words, so let's go ahead and look for some 4th grade spelling words, and you may have these yourself. When you're teaching, you'll know where to look from. So here's a list like this. These are PDFs, so these are a little bit, you cannot get these apart, so I'm just going to take this list here and I'll just paste it right here. See how it went this way? So here's what you want to do. I'm going to back up, and now I'm going to go like this. Paste special. I'm only going to take the text, and then it comes down like this. I'll slide this over like this, and then I'm going to just go ahead and take these out because I don't want that in there. Now as you look at these, that's a long list for 4th graders, especially somebody that's having some struggles, some learning needs and stuff. So this is your chance to edit this also and not give them all this. I would set it up first, but then I would work with it how to do it. And you can have sentences in here, you can have usage, you can do a number of things that you want to have in here. But let me just show you first how we're going to set this up. So we'll come up here, and the student gets the word rolled, and he let's say he spells it correctly. Now on our thing here, we can change this to say, you know, if C2 is blank, okay, then blank, but if C2 is equal to A2, correct. Otherwise, it's this is B2. If B2 but I just made this same thing like we did in the math, where it's just a formula, an if-then statement. If B2 is blank, then nothing. But if B2 is equal to A2, then it's correct. Okay, and the other way. All right, I'm just going to pull this down like we did in math. And then, and again, it's a practice thing, so you could have them study this. And then we fix this up a little bit like this. I like these big. I have my favorite, I'm kind of an Arial guy. So I come to Arial, and I'm going to make it nice and big. Maybe not that big, but at least 14. And some different, I like them centered, so I can squeeze them back, and lets me know I could go a little bit bigger. I'm going to go 16. And you know, you can modify this too. You can put in there 15 and go in between, but whatever it is, that's what it'll be. And you could do the same here. How big do you want this to be? So let's have this 20 maybe, because you got lots of room here for what you're doing. And again, we'll center this so it jumps up like that. And so you got it here, and you have yourself a spelling test. Now let's do this too. Let's say that this is lesson 1, and make sure we save it as. It'll really kind of depend on how you're going to use it, but let's save it as 4th grade spelling, and you might need to even put a year on it so that you remember what it goes with, what year you did this or stuff like that. Just because as time goes on, you'll have so many files, you won't know what to do with them all. So you start to do stuff like this where you mark it better so you have it, you can remember what it is in the future. Okay. And then you have it, and what we might want to do again, save it as a template, and you may want both here, but this is and it doesn't matter if it's macro enabled here, but just make sure it's a template so that when it's open, it can't be saved back over what you have there. Okay. And so here you're going to make another one, and this would be lesson 2. And you maybe don't want it this way. You maybe want, have them separate. Depends how you're going to use them, how you're going to keep track of them, things like that. We talked about how you could use them that way in the class. So how are we going to get these words? Let's it's like on Microsoft Word now. Let's come back here to File and come down here to Options and to customize the ribbon. Here under Speak Cells, and we want to make a tab for that. And this tab says here, let's name this Speak. Okay. And then we have it. And now we can put stuff in here. Goes with this one. Speak Cells. Then we come back here to cells not, commands not in the ribbon. All right, and that'll show us the rest of these that we need. And we want to come here to this. Speak cells, stop by columns. We want them all in this group here. And then by column, and by row, and by enter. Right, and by enter, I'm going to move that one up a little bit to Speak Cells. And then I'm going to tell it OK. And now I'm going to see it's here on Speak. And I'm actually going to do this now. I want it on Enter up in the quick bar. So I put this up here so that I have that quickly also. So now, watch this.
Cells will now be spoken on Enter.
Roll fingers. Accept. Speed.
Okay.
Speed.
That does it. And then when you want to shut it off, you there. So on Enter.
Cells will now be spoken on Enter. Mark.
If they don't hear it,
Mark.
they can back up and do it again. Now, you're wondering how in the world are we going to make these work, that they'll see these? Well, this is what I propose you do, is come back here to the home, and let's just make these disappear. Like this, we can turn them white. And they're gone. They're here.
Roll fingers. Accept.
Okay, like that. And we can lock this. And so like we did before, we came under here and said, under protection, we want these to be unlocked like this. And so then we go this, No, I take that back. I want that locked. This is the only one that's unlocked. It's from here down. 22 of them. Everything else can be locked. Okay. Protection. Want them unlocked. Now we come up here to our view, our review, and tell it to protect this. And I'm going to put a little code in there. And now let's see what we got. See, everything else is locked except this. And can I get this?
Accept.
Yes.
Accept.
There. And it reads it to you.
Woods. Correct. Great
Okay.
job.
Okay. There. You have a self-correcting spelling test.